Hello, 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 hello. All right, I think the audio is working. Probably too low in the seat there. Okay, you guys can see me a little bit better. Okay. See, this is why I don't record very many of these videos over here and on the face cam because there's always an awkward camera angle. I can't ever make it look decent. Um, Although I am able to show a little bit of the background off. I got some new stuff from Spirit Halloween. I got a Michael Myers painting. Then I got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing right there. Overlook Hotel. Um, but welcome back, guys, to another episode of WrestleChill. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but I was extremely busy, very, very tired, and I did not have the energy to go live yesterday, so I was not able to, unfortunately. But welcome back to another episode. I'm gonna try and make this a thing I do. If not every other week, I'll do it once in a while. Just me getting on here and talking about some topics right now that are popular in the world of wrestling that is happening. People are talking about, or just various things I want to discuss on here. Only reason why I'm doing it on this channel is because the other channel I can't go live on right now and talk about wrestling. So until I get that channel some more subs, I'm gonna be going live on this one. But today's topic, we are talking about this belt right up here. Very same belt, the IC Championship. Got that replica for a good deal back when it was on sale. And the cool thing about that replica, you can actually remove the side plates. So that's pretty cool. I didn't think they'd actually go that far with the details and stuff. And you can legit go out there and buy some side plates and put them on for whoever you wanted to have the side plates for, I guess. But today we're just going to be kicking back, relaxing, and talking about the Intercontinental Championship, the current state of the Intercontinental Championship. My thoughts on where it's at right now, as far as storylines involved, as far as do I think it's being treated properly, and the Intercontinental Championship, to give you guys a little bit of history with me in this belt, the Intercontinental title is one of my favorite championships out there. It really is. I love the idea of the IC Championship and the tradition of it, the history of it, the people that have held it, the careers that were pushed forward because they had the IC Championship, and a lot of people that became huge stars because of the Intercontinental Championship. And of course, they had a lot more people hold the IC title. So there's a lot more variety to it. I mean, hell, right now I'm watching all the old school Monday Night Raw episodes, starting from season 1 all the way until I'm going to stop around 2014 because I was pretty much keeping up with Raw from that point on. I figured it'd be a lot of fun to do that. And even watching that first year of Raw, it's like first it's on Shawn Michaels and it's on Marty Jannetty, and then it's back on Shawn Michaels, then it's gonna go to somebody else. Like it's always changing hands back in the day. So especially back then, because for a long time, it was not one of those championships where you held it for like hundreds and hundreds of days. It was like, one person would hold it, then another person would hold it the next month, and then the next month. So today we're going to be talking about my thoughts on the current state of the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, right now, our current Intercontinental Champion is Braun Breaker, who defeated Sami Zayn at SummerSlam, I believe was SummerSlam. He beat him. Has held the belt since, and we got Jey Uso being thrown into the mix now. Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker will be happening at Bad Blood, most likely. Sami Zayn, talk about all of his stuff too. But to get into it, the Intercontinental title I thought was doing rather well for a while, because you got to think this title was completely forgotten about by Vince McMahon and completely disrespected. There was a lot of time where Vince was not really keeping an eye on the championship, and I mean, he even said himself various times that he's like, who gives a shit about the IC title? And so he really didn't care about the IC title, so he never really booked it that often up to a certain point. And it is a shame because, like I said, it's a fan favorite belt. I mean, a lot of people love this championship. It's one of my favorite belts. I mean, it was one of my favorite belts. I went out and got a replica of it. So I know people are like, that's a travesty that it's not the classic white strap championship, the one from the 90s. But that one I don't mind, and it was on sale. So I figure I'd get that. But Sami Zayn holding that championship right now, to me, I think is, or not right now. Goddamn, I just said he's holding it right now. For the time he held it, of course, he beat Gunther at WrestleMania. And Gunther, I really thought, revived that championship in a way. Made it feel important again, gave it prestige, all that good stuff. And for Sami Zayn, the way that he won it, a lot of controversy, of course, a lot of rumors that he was whining behind the scenes, saying that he wished he was winning more, wish he was doing more, and thus he got the IC title. Unfortunately, whether it's true or not, it's kind of soured his reputation in a way, because ever since then, people have kind of had a bitter taste in their mouth about Sami Zayn, because, of course, Sami Zayn wasn't as over as Gable at the time. And so what do? They put Sami at WrestleMania. Gable gets the back seat, and then you turn Gable heel. So it was almost like they were like, well, nah, Gable ain't ready yet, turning him heel, putting Sami in that spot. And it didn't help that Sami Zayn had, in my opinion, the worst title reign of the year. And I count it as the worst because they were on TV for so much time that for nothing to be done with that title, to me, is unacceptable. It's ridiculous to me, that title run. And he held it from WrestleMania to SummerSlam. That's a huge run with the title, and I can't even tell you a single thing he did. Maybe some Gable stuff in there. Braun Breaker and him fought once, and then he beat him, and then they had a rematch, which doesn't make any sense because nothing about that made sense where they booked it. I just remember a whole lot of nothing from Sami Zayn with that title. And my thing is, like, look, if you're going to politic, and I'm not saying for sure that Sami Zayn politicked his way to the main event. I'm not even going to say that, because I know a lot of people said that. I'm not going to say that because it's not confirmed. It was a bunch of rumors. I will say it was a bit suspicious that after all those rumors dropped, then all of a sudden Sami Zayn started getting pushed. And then before you know it, we're at WrestleMania and we're seeing Sami Zayn versus Gunther. And even I was like, what? Why would they put Sami in there? Like, people obviously want Gable. I wanted Gable. Everybody was behind Gable. And you put Sami in there. And my thing with Gable is, while I think he could be a good heel, he's a great baby face. I mean, a competitive, almost Kurt Angle styled baby face. Because he does work as baby, because he has the size of a baby face. He's a smaller dude. So to make him a heel, even though he's doing the best he can, it's kind of weird because you have, I guess, the face faction and the Wyatt Six taking on, I guess, they are heels, the American Way, which I love that team. But it is kind of like, wait a minute. They kind of are having a heel versus heel team right here. I guess technically the Wyatt Six are baby faces. I guess technically, but you just look at them, you're like, these are baby faces? Okay. But it was just, I noticed since then, like, Gable should have really went to WrestleMania and had his moment, and I really think that Sami Zayn doing that, and it was a good match. I will admit, it was a good match. And they're leading to Sami Zayn versus Gunther again at the upcoming pay-per-view, Bad Blood, most likely, for the world title, which I think will be a good match. I'm not doubting their abilities in the ring. I think Sami's a great wrestler, but I think he's overused. He's oversaturated. He's using the same gimmick that he was using almost 10 years ago, which is, I'm the underdog and, I have the world against me and the system's against me. And I'm like, you can't really do that character right now because your reputation right now is that you politicked. So you got this rumor spraying around, then you got him playing this character, then you got him being mysteriously pushed out of nowhere to the top of the mid card at least. Then you got him not even doing anything with that title, and that's the part that really offends me the most. Is like, let's say even if he did or didn't politic his way to the main event, he still didn't give us a good run with that title. So I'm like, you had all those months to do something, brand new babyface turn, and you gave us nothing. Like Sami Zayn gave nothing. His promos, I can't remember a single promo he gave. I can't remember a single match he had other than the Braun Breaker shit. And that was because Braun Breaker was going around Raw and destroying people on like a nightly basis. So I remember that stuff because, I mean, Braun Breaker was destroying the whole mid-card roster at that time. But like, it's a shame to me that the IC title since Gunther has sort of disappeared from the mainstream interest. Like, a lot of people aren't really digging the IC title right now. And it's a shame because, like I said, you got plenty of people you can put that belt on. And if you're going to put that belt on Braun Breaker, I've always said this. I'm not a big fan of Braun Breaker. I'm not. He's bland. But Braun Breaker has potential. Braun Breaker, if he learns the ropes, if he learns a bit more, he could seriously become a great talent and could be a star one day. I just think calling him up to the main roster, giving him the IC title right now is a bit of a stretch. But then again, the IC title was meant to be that. It was meant to be that, okay, we're going to give you the IC title. Let's see how you do with it. And I wasn't a fan of the Sami Zayn run. Then you have Sami Zayn beat Braun Breaker clean. And I'm like, okay, so is Sami Zayn's going to continue to hold this belt? Then it's like, well, no, Sami Zayn's going to lose to him at SummerSlam. And I'm like, but there was no reason for it to happen. Nothing in that story made sense for him to beat him clean. Like, okay, if you want Braun Breaker to be a heel, why didn't Braun Breaker win dirty? Like, you could have had Braun Breaker beating up Sami Zayn, but then Sami Zayn makes a comeback. And then, of course, Sami Zayn's beating up Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker, I don't know, poking the eye, stomping the toe, kicking the groin, brass knuckles, even though I'm tired of the brass knuckles thing, so I don't blame them for not using that. But something. Loosening the ropes so that Sami Zayn falls off, and then when he gets back up, spear. 1, 2, 3. Like, there could have been better story time with it. And apparently that match at SummerSlam was shortened. It wasn't supposed to be that short of a match. It was supposed to be a lot longer. So I don't know what's going on with the IC title. It feels like right now they don't know what to do with it. Every other belt, it's like, okay, World Heavyweight title, they know what they're doing. Women's World title, they know what they're doing. Now, granted, when you started getting the like the tag team titles and the WWE Women's Championship and the Tag Team Championship, the Women's Tag Team Champion, like that's when it's like the mid card right now is lost, completely lost. But I do think that the IC title is a spot on the card that you really should be building storylines and wrestling matches around. And with Sami Zayn, they didn't really do that. I would watch clips from his matches on Raw, and I'm like, I don't really get it. I mean, the thing is, if he's a babyface, why didn't he do what John Cena did and just had open challenges? And if he did, I don't even remember if he did. So why didn't he make it more of an important thing? Like, okay, John Cena at one time gave me a shot at this title. Let me give somebody from NXT a shot at this title. And be more interesting. I think he just lost the edge factor. And I think Sami Zayn became a character where it was like, okay, as a babyface, he needed to play that underdog, but he's been there way too long, and he's got too much experience to be the underdog anymore. But they continuously want to book him as the underdog, and they want to constantly say that he's the person that's never going to give up. You know, he's always going to keep fighting, and he's going to be the next main event star. And I'm like, I don't buy that right now. His look, he's looking like he's out of shape. his hair, his beard, the way he talks, the way he carries himself. It just, to me, seems like, I don't know, like he's barely kind of trying now. Like even his look. Like you go look at Sami Zayn back in the day, he was never a big Hulk dude, like with, giant muscles and stuff. But he had like abs and he was, it looked like he was in better shape. Nowadays, he looks like he's out of shape. He looks like, and he even said, like, I'm not even working out that much. My cardio is low. It's like, but you want to become the world heavyweight champion? And his promos are boring. And like, I'm just like, I'm the way I look at it is I'm a fan of Sami Zayn. But just because I'm a fan of Sami Zayn doesn't mean I'm going to be blind to the problems there. It's the same thing with WWE. If WWE went back to the same old stuff it used to do, like let's say it goes back to what it once was, where they were doing these awful storylines and horrible gimmicks and stupid things don't make any sense and everything's pointless. I love WWE, but I would criticize it in a heartbeat. And I do that because I care. So yes, I am a fan of Sami Zayn, but I do think he could be doing a lot better right now. And it ain't just me saying it. It's a whole lot of people saying it. I mean, a lot of the WWE fan base right now is saying, like, no offense to Sami, but like, we want to see somebody else right now. We don't want to see Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn has just been on the shows all the time, and he just says nothing. He does nothing. It's just not interesting. Now, when he was a heel, I loved his heel work. The sniveling little snake who just weasels his way out of the matches. Like, I love him as a heel. I really love his earlier work as a babyface when he was in NXT, and him and Adrian Neville and him and Kevin Owens, and even when he became a babyface in the main roster. It was like, okay, I like the earlier stuff, but right now he's having a bit of a point where it's like a down point in his career where it's like, what do we do with Sami? He's no longer the underdog. You can't keep relying on that same gimmick over and over. And that gimmick is 10 years old. What I would do with Sami Zayn, and believe me, we'll move on to the Braun Breaker part of the video in a minute, but what I would do with Sami Zayn is him and Gunther face at Bad Blood. You could even make it a first blood match if you want to make it that. Something fun. Because it's Bad Blood. It's going to be a gimmick pay-per-view. First blood match. They have a good match for about, I don't know, half of the match. Halfway through, and all the way up to the halfway point. It's a competitive back and forth fight between him and Gunther. Then halfway through, Gunther takes over. Gunther takes over and starts destroying Sami because Sami starts taunting him like, hey, I can actually beat you. I have a chance here. Gunther gets pissed, chops him to fucking hell, just keeps chopping him and throwing him across the ring and just demolishing Sami Zayn. And even though he busts Sami Zayn open, he doesn't stop. He puts him, power bombs him through the announce table, power bombs him on the apron, power bombs him on the outside, does all these things to really hurt Sami. And of course, Sami, that means write him off TV for a while. He's bloodied, he's beaten, he's bruised, he's been destroyed. And then give Sami Zayn like 3 months off. 3 months off. I heard he's going to go get stem cell recovery. So have him go do that, get in shape, cut the hair, gain some muscles a little bit as much as he can, get in some good shape, come back about 3 or 4 months down the road. Then we'll see what we can do with them. As a baby face, he'll come back with a new look, new logo, new gear. I think people would like Sami Zayn a lot more if you did that, especially if like Sami kept trying to come back, but Gunther keeps destroying him. But then eventually Sami's gone and we don't know where he is. And you don't hear about Sami for months. And then, oh my God, he's back and he's ripped and he's got the freaking, well, he wouldn't be like ripped, but he would have the abs back, looking like he used to. And he had the hair cut and he's ready to go. New look, new gimmick almost in a way. Not a repackaging totally, but a new fresh take on Sami Zayn. And maybe make the theme song a bit updated and just, it would add to that. It would add to the character. It would make it something new. And I think it would really do good for him. And I think right now, audience fatigue with Sami Zayn is very high. So you get him away from TV for a while. You take him back eventually. give people time to forget about all the freaking controversy and stuff, which is stupid. I don't think there should be controversy with Sami Zayn because, first of all, it was all reported as rumors. So people take these rumors and they're, oh my God, Sami Zayn's a fraud. He's out here politicking. It's like everybody turned on him, and it may sound like I've looked at him as like I'm not a fan anymore, but it's not like that. I'm still a fan of Sami Zayn. I still do really respect Sami and what he's given to this company and what he's done for wrestling, especially in NXT. NXT, Sami Zayn made history. But I understand why people are upset with Sami Zayn. I understand it because it's just fatigue. It's just like there's so much of we got Miss C here. Hey, what's going on, Miss C? I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself? We got Strange Dog comic stuff. Ian, what's up, Ian? They need to stop these smaller Euro country cards and focus on some of the bigger pay-per-view events. To me, it's still a pay-per-view. I'm old school. I say pay-per-view as well still. I don't think PLE will ever catch on, whatever it is. Premium live events, what they call it. I don't think that'll ever catch on. I still call them pay-per-views too. And I kind of agree with you, Missy, because I've noticed like it gets a bit hard to keep up with the shows because 1 minute you're going to be seeing a pay-per-view that's, normal time, Eastern time, West Coast, whatever. But then you got a pay-per-view coming up where you got to be up at like 1 p.m. You got to check it out by 1 p.m. I'm like, who the heck going to watch a pay-per-view that's 3 hours long at 1 p.m. or 8 a.m. or 4 a.m.? So it definitely does get annoying. I definitely see what you mean there. But, yeah, I just think that you do that with Sami Zayn, it could really fix things. Now, moving on to the Braun Breaker portion of this video. Again, I think Braun Breaker has an immense talent. I think he has the ability to be a top star. I just think he's very young in his career. He's very young. He's very green. He's very early in his career. And the IC title is a big belt to have. And you cannot have Braun Breaker just hanging out in the back with this title. Like, they've been doing that so many times with this title where it's people like hanging out in the back and aha, I got it that time. Battling the cold, COVID all week, but seems like it's finally leaving my body. Thanks for asking. Oh, no problem. I'm sorry you're going through that. COVID freaking sucks. I had COVID. Last time I had it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it sucks. COVID freaking sucked. I was in bed for like a week. Well, the first time I had COVID, I was in bed for, like 2 weeks, actually. It took me a while to recover from it. But yeah, Braun Breaker, I think he just, if you're going to have the IC title, you got to do stuff with it. Promos, vignettes, something. And he's been doing a lot of like, okay, after Raw's over, we're going to do an interview with Braun Breaker, or, okay, Braun Breaker backstage somewhere. I'm like, this is your IC champion. Why do you, and they did it with Sammy too. I'm like, why are you guys not having the IC title be defended on Raw more? And I get it. Him and Sammy had a match on Raw, and I get it. Like, they've had matches on Raw for the IC title, but I'm like, why is it that Braun Breaker, you give him the belt, so you give him the belt, and then you have a tournament for the belt. So now Braun Breaker won't be on TV because there's a tournament coming up. There's no storyline. There's nothing. It's just a tournament. But the thing is, it's a tournament against Braun Breaker who you haven't even built up yet. So it's like, to me, it feels a bit pointless. It feels a bit like useless to have the tournament if you're not going to build up Braun Breaker as a character first. So the Braun Breaker thing needs to get fixed. If I'm looking at the Raw roster, I think Dragunov should have the IC title. Because Dragunov, I can see him having amazing matches on Raw every single week. B, you work on his character, you give him a storyline with Braun Breaker, I guarantee you that'll be money. Braun as the heel, Dragunov as the babyface. Give them the storyline, make it around the IC title, that's money. I mean, I just think like Dragunov is more ready for it. I think he has more of a presence. I think he has more to his character work that he's already doing, and I think he's going to give good matches out there. But of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, Dragunov isn't ready either. And I'm like, well, he was an NXT champion. And I get it, Braun Breaker was too, but I think Dragunov was a better NXT champion. And I think Dragunov has a little bit more to offer as a IC champion than Braun Breaker does, especially thus far. And they've written themselves into a corner where now we're going to have Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker. Jey Uso back in the IC title scene again for like the 5th time he's back in the IC title scene. Once again, beating Dragunov. So you got Jey Uso in there. And Jey Uso is another example of like, I love his character. Well, I respect Jey Uso. I've always been a big Jey Uso fan. I always liked Jey Uso the best out of the tag team. And I always thought Jey Uso and Roman Reigns had a great storyline together when they were facing each other and like Hell in a Cell and stuff like that. But Jey Uso, they keep having this weird thing where they want to push him, but not really. They don't know what to do with him. Do we use him now? Do we use him, somewhere else? Like, they don't really know what to do with Jey Uso, and the Yeet thing is getting kind of old with me. And it's like Jey Uso, they keep using him again and again, but they keep on having him lose, which is annoying to me. So I'm like, you wrote yourself into a corner. If Braun Breaker loses, he looks really bad because he had a very small reign and didn't do much of that title. And then if you have Jey Uso lose, then that kills all his momentum. So I don't know what the heck their plan is with all these people in the mid-card division right now. We will definitely see what happens because I don't know what the heck they're going to do about that. I'm trying to keep up with YouTube updates. I don't have cable anyway. I was just wondering, do you know anything about if they are bringing Roman and the original Bloodline back? Roman is on SmackDown right now, I believe, and I think right now he's a babyface. So what they have right now advertised is Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus the new Bloodline at Bad Blood in a tag team match. So he's there. I don't think we're going to get the old Bloodline back for a while because Jimmy's injured somehow still. He's still injured. Jay is on Raw, and he's part of the mid-card scene, and then Roman's on SmackDown, and, so I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. I think eventually we're going to get to a point where we're going to have Roman, Jimmy, and Jay taking on Solo, Jacob, and the Tongas. So it'll eventually get to that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they have The Rock join Roman Reigns. I don't know who they'd get to help Roman Reigns. I know Jay's on Raw, but it wouldn't be hard to move him back to SmackDown. I don't think it would be. I don't see why it would be. It would definitely have to be something that they would do around the draft season, which isn't that far away. So maybe around January, we get the start of a new storyline. I'm not sure where they're going with this WrestleMania as far as like, I know everybody's saying Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton's the way to go, but they can't just drop the Bloodline storyline out of nowhere like that. Solo Sikoa has to face somebody at WrestleMania. There is no like, we just kind of forget about it. Maybe Jacob Fatu goes rogue. So I think maybe Jacob Fatu goes rogue, faces Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania. That could be the match. And then maybe have the Cody and Randy Orton thing still happen. And then you can have Roman Reigns versus The Rock. So maybe have the Usos versus the Tongas. So there's a way to still do the storyline with the Bloodline. I guess that would work the best, honestly. And I think Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa would have a better rivalry anyways because they're both brand new talents. So they'd be able to work with it. They'd be able to work with each other a lot better. Because I haven't really been the biggest fan of Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes matches, personally. They're okay, but I could just tell Solo ain't ready. So we'll definitely see about that. Um, yeah, I could totally see that. I could see Solo being like the forgotten son of the bloodline, where he's been thrown out and cast away from the bloodline, and he's the outsider. And then Jacob Fatu is, going to go after him and take him out. I think it could be a good story, but yeah, with the IC title and the mid card in general, we need a good mid card, guys. We cannot have a lackluster mid card. It's always been very, very important for the mid card to at least be halfway decent. Always. No matter what decade it is, no matter what era you watch, there's always got to be a good mid card, because for as important as the main card is, the mid card is the matches that get you there. And if your mid card is not good, that means you're going to have a very boring pay-per-view until the main event. They nail those main events. To me, the main event is untouchable. They do great work with the main event scene. I'm not even going to complain about that. Yeah, I can get a bit slow and stale at times, but my main thing with the main event stuff is it's good shit, really good shit. But they are struggling to get that mid card over. Like, other than LA Knight's doing great. I thought Logan Paul did great as the champion, but I don't know if people like Andrade or Carmelo Hayes or, a few other people in the mid card right now are ready for the IC title or the US title. So I'm thinking make it more wrestling oriented, but also stories. Create stories. Try your best. They're out there. You can still create good storytelling with the IC title. I mean, hell, I'm watching Old School Raw right now, and the storyline between Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels is great. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Shawn Michaels didn't even have that long of a storyline, and it was pretty decent. It's memorable. So it can be done. I really do believe it can be done. The IC title was at one time one of the most important championships you can win. Right now, it's just floundering. They don't know what to do with it. They don't have a solid direction and where to go with it. And to me, that's a damn travesty, because it's the mid card is there's so much potential. And you even lost some of your potential when people left. So it's still got potential, but the point is there's so many people they're not using right now. Now that Braun Strowman is back, I need him to have a big feud or heel turn. He's always been my favorite. Yeah, they set up some stuff with him and Bronson Reed, which is another big guy. He's a heel right now. So hopefully they can have a good long-term storyline. I'd like to see what they do for a while, him and Bronson Reed. I think they would actually do a pretty good job with that. And Braun Strowman wouldn't be a bad candidate for the IC championship right now, because he's in the mid-card right now. He would be a good... I would say, honestly, too, Bronson Reed. I mean, Bronson Reed, I think, would be a lot better as an IC champion than Braun Breaker or Sami Zayn. Like, these dudes are just not doing it right now. And they're even LA Knight goes out there. You remember his shit. He goes out there. His promos are on point. His matches are great. He's got a good look. He believes in who he is. He's a freaking bona fide star. He is a great United States champion. The IC championship is the problem right now. It's just like, who do you give it to? If you give it to Jey Uso, do you book a storyline around Jey Uso? Who do you have him feud with? Who do you have him go after first? It's like, I can just tell they don't really have a direction for the IC title, which is really shocking to me. But yeah, I think the bottom line of this discussion is I hope that the future is bright for the IC title, but for right now, it's floundering, and I think it's ridiculous, because it's a very prestigious title, one of my personal favorite championship belts, and I wish it would be done a little bit better. But anyways, that's going to do it for the stream today. It's just a little tiny stream I want to do real quick and get my thoughts out there about the IC title and my thoughts on the current state of everything with the mid-card. But anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got Miss C here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got Ian. I appreciate you guys tuning into the stream and hanging out with me for a little while. But that's going to be about it for this stream, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and head out. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, that's it for WrestleChill. Later. Peace.